Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. Welcome to this information session for the Utopia Science and Innovation Fellowship Program. I'm Raffaella Canu. I'm a Utopia-SIF Program Coordinator for CY Cergy Paris University. Together with me, there is Sylvie Nissen, Director for International Scientific Cooperation and Program Coordinator for the EUTOPIA-SIF program at Cergy Paris University, and Francesca Rondina, Program Officer for the EUTOPIA-SIF program at CY Cergy Paris University. During this webinar, you will have a brief presentation of the Utopia Alliance, a presentation on the EUTOPIA-SIF program. Then you will have a guided demonstration on how to register on the application platform and how to fill in the application form. And after all, at the end of the presentation, there will be a Q&A session. So a few recommendations before we start our presentations. You can ask your questions using the Q&A button that you see on the bottom of your screen. All the questions will be answered at the end of the presentations. So you may want to wait after the presentations are delivered to start asking your questions. And though, please refrain to use the button discussion to ask your questions, because we will not answer the questions there, but we can answer the questions only through the Q&A session. I think we can start with the presentation.
So hello everyone. So I'm Sylvie Nissen. As Raffaella said, I'm Director for International Scientific Development at CY Cergy Paris University. And I will introduce you to the Utopia environment, the fellowship program, and how to apply to our second call. So as an introduction to this webinar, I would like to provide you with a brief overview of the key feature of Utopia-SIF program. So EUTOPIA-SIF is an international postdoctoral fellowship program offering outstanding opportunities for talented young researchers to develop their research skills, expand their career prospects, explore new research horizons, and tackle the main scientific and societal challenges of our time. The program is hosted by the Utopia European University Alliance and funded by the H2020 Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action Scheme for 5 years and 4 calls. So we are now at the second call. And within the 5 years duration of the project, EUTOPIA-SIF will recruit 76 fellows in order to constitute a pan-European cohort of promising young researchers. So let me now briefly introduce you Utopia Alliance. We are 6 like-minded European universities: Vrije Universiteit in Brussels in Belgium, CY Cergy Paris University in France, the University of Gothenburg in Sweden, University of Ljubljana in Slovenia, University of Pompeu Fabra Barcelona in Spain, and finally University of Warwick in UK. We were selected by the European Commission among the 17 first Erasmus Plus European University Alliances in 2019. The aim of our alliance is to create a connected and inclusive academic community, addressing global and local challenges, promoting academic excellence and inclusion, and give an active contribution to European economic development through innovation and research. The core objective now of Utopia-SIF program is to help young researchers to develop ambitious research projects. Now the previous slide, please. Yes. No. Next. Okay. So the program focuses on these 5 key research areas that are central to understanding the shaping the future of our planet. So from material engineering to welfare and inclusion, there's a broad spectrum of disciplines that are welcome in our program, from fundamental to experimental sciences, including social sciences and humanities. So the program encourages interdisciplinarity and is open to researchers from really all academic fields, as far as they are in connection with these research areas. So next, I will now briefly highlight the benefits EUTOPIA-SIF program can bring. The first point to emphasize is that this project is related to a very large and growing community with location in all Europe. So for the moment, only 6 universities of the first step of EUTOPIA-SIF university are eligible for this program, but we are now growing to 9 partners. The fellows will be jointly hosted and supervised by 2 research groups of the Utopia Alliance and spend up to 6 months in the co-host research groups. They will undertake a secondment with the international and or non-academic partner of the program or another institution of their choice if they want. And last but not least, we will offer a dedicated training and activity program focusing on transversal skills, impact and innovation awareness, and interdisciplinary exchange. So join us as an EUTOPIA-SIF postdoctoral fellow. And to help you achieve that, I will now explain you how to apply to the second call, and now your application will be evaluated. So our second call is now open from the 20th of September, and the deadline is on 10 January 2022. We will have also an optional pre-application stage with a deadline on 25th October 2021. So who can apply and how? The application are welcome from recognized researcher, PhD holder or equivalent of any nationality and from all disciplines. The candidates are expected to propose an ambitious research project to be carried out at one of the Utopia University and co-hosted by a second Utopia University for a secondment. The candidates must also indicate at least 1 and up to 3 pairs of host and co-host university in their application. Be very careful, you have to comply with the Marie Curie mobility rule. The researchers must not have resided or carried out their main activity, so research or studies, in the country of the selected university more than 12 months in the 3 years prior to the date of the appointment as a EUTOPIA-SIF fellow. So you need really to check from 1st September 2019 to 31 August 2022. So what EUTOPIA-SIF fellow are offered? Firstly, a 24 months employment contract as Marie Curie fellow at one of the Utopia University with a monthly average gross salary of around 4,000 euros, depending on the country. You can see more details in the guide for applicants. A supplementary budget for research and travel expenses, full academic freedom for the research project. You will access also state-of-the-art infrastructure and have support and career guidance during the fellowship. We will offer attractive living conditions and high quality of life in the local environments of Utopia University and provide support for mobility. We introduced this year a new optional pre-application stage. So from 20 September to 25 October 2021, you may register to the application platform, even if you don't want to apply to the pre-application stage. And then you will be able to choose pre-application or directly the full application. Then if you choose the pre-application, you will have to fill the online requested information and submit a summary of your research project. So it's a free two pages document to upload, plus a CV of maximum 4 pages, also in a free text. You need also to select a related key research area and, very important, a discipline. Your project information will then be transmitted to the disciplinary related research groups in the Alliance. So be aware that we want to help you find a match in our research group, but the pre-application does not ensure pairing with a hosting group. So you may still try to contact directly a research group for hosting your fellowship. So the application content, what do you need to have to be eligible and to try to become EUTOPIA-SIF fellow? You need, of course, an ambition research proposal using the template. Be very careful on that, using the template. You will fill in this template your ethic declaration. You need to choose at least one EUTOPIA-SIF key research area and choose also your prospective host and co-host university. To be eligible, you will need to provide at least one support letter of a chosen host research group to prove the endorsement and feasibility. So for that, you will see the guide for applicant for the details, especially who is entitled to sign the letter. For your CV, you will have to fill online information and upload a maximum 4 pages CV using the template for the full application available on the application platform. You will add a personal statement of maximum 2 pages, and you will also have to request 2 reference letters by the call deadline. The letters must be uploaded by the 20 January 2022. Finally, you have to upload also your PhD certificate, plus a translation if it's not in English, or proof of 4-year equivalent research experience using the template also available on the application platform. I would like now to focus on the research group eligible for hosting and co-hosting the fellows. It is always highly recommended to contact research group as well as potential academic supervisor before submitting the application, because if you try to build your research project with your prospective research group, it will be better. It will always be better. So, and this year, you will need to at least contact one research group who will be, if it's only one, your first choice, to ask for the support letter we just talked about before. The list of the research group is available on the EUTOPIA-SIF website. And I would also like to highlight that for VUB, so in Belgium, only 11 research groups are eligible as hosts, and there are no restrictions for co-hosting. So be very careful on that. And if there are any questions regarding VUB or another university, please contact the local program manager. You will find all the information to contact them in the guide for applicants. So after the deadline, your application will be evaluated. After the deadline, the application will be firstly checked for eligibility, and if it's eligible, you will be evaluated on the following criteria. So scientific and technical quality of the project, its excellence, feasibility and suitability, the impact and dissemination plan, and the experience and leadership of the candidate. We will also evaluate the added value of the fellowship for the career development of the candidate. So here is an indicative timeline with the call deadline on January 10th. The eligibility check should be done by the end of January and will be followed by the feedback of the host research group if they did not provide a support letter, of course. If they provide a support letter, of course, they support you. We don't need to ask them again. From February to end of March, your proposal will be assessed by remote peer review, and we will invite a short list of candidates for interviews occurring by the end of April. From May to July, the future fellows will be notified and the contract offered, and the fellows may start their fellowship on 1st September 2022. So for any information, please refer to our website and application platform. You have also to read very carefully the guide for applicants, and you will also be able to use the FAQ page on our website, and we will update this FAQ regularly. And of course, contact the local program manager for specific questions regarding one partner university specifically. Thank you very much for this part. And now I will leave the floor to Rafaela, and she will explain you how to use our submission platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvie. So now I will briefly show you how to create an account, select the program, and fill in the application form on the application platform. So first of all, this is the land page of our application platform. Website is eutopia.smapply.io. As you can see, in the bottom right corner, there are two buttons, one for login, one for register. If you want to create an account, you click on register, and then you fill in with your information. You click on create account, and you will receive on your inbox a message looking like this email in order to confirm your email address and to register on the application platform. You click to go to site, and you will be redirected on the application platform. You are registered now as an applicant, and then you click to view the programs on the application platform. And in the following page, you can select the program to which you want to apply. In this case, the EUTOPIA-SIF Science and Innovation Fellowship Program. You click on more, and this is the land page of the program with the introduction relevant information. And here you can start your application, clicking on apply. This is the page, the starting page of your application, where you can see the application forms and the sections that you have to fill in, the application number and the status of your application, the last edit and the reminder of the deadline. Please note that applications need to be submitted at the deadline in order to be considered eligible. So if at the deadline there are applications that are completed but not submitted on the application platform, they cannot be considered eligible. I will now show you how to navigate through the application forms and to highlight some points that you need to be careful on. So first of all, the first form, you need to read, understand, and accept the general data protection regulations. So once you tick the box and you click on Mark as complete, you validate the form. You can see here that the form is, this circle is green and ticked, so the form is validated. At the end, once you have completed your applications, all the forms, circles will have to look like this. So let's proceed with the personal information. This section is very important, and please remember to fill it in if you want to submit your pre-application, because we also need your personal information in order to transmit your information for the pre-application form. So this works in the same way as the previous form. You fill in with your information. Be careful to fill in all the mandatory forms, otherwise you will not be able to validate the form. So once you have filled it in, you mark as complete. To proceed again, I will now show you how to fill in the pre-application form. In the first page of the form, there is again a reminder of how the pre-application form will work and of the fact that it is not mandatory. You can submit it until the 25th of October. In the meantime, you can also decide to proceed with your application without filling in the pre-application form. So if you do not wish to fill in the pre-application form, you simply tick no and you click on next, and your form will be marked as complete, and you will be able to complete your application and to proceed. Instead, if you wish to fill in your application form, you tick the yes and click on next, and you will fill in the information form. This is the first page with information on your academic degree and employment. After that, you will be asked to check whether you comply with the MSCA mobility rule for the countries, the partner countries for the EUTOPIA-SIF, and to indicate at least 1 and up to 5 main research outputs from your research. Then you are asked to upload an academic CV. In this case, in the pre-application form without a template, so you are free to upload a CV in a template that you prefer. Once you have filled in the forms and uploaded the file, you can click on Next and proceed with the following section of the pre-application form. So, information on your research project, an indicative title, keywords, the selection of a discipline. You will have a drop-down menu, so you will select a discipline from a list, and after that you will also select a sub-discipline from another drop-down menu that will be available according to the discipline choice. You have to select a key research area and upload a research proposal abstract. Again, in this case, no template is required, so you are free to upload the file in the format that you prefer. Once you have filled in, you click on Next, and this is the terminating page of the application form, reminding you that you also have to fill in the personal information. You tick the yes and you mark as complete. And the personal application form is completed. Now, this is the page for your academic and professional experience. This is part of the mandatory content of the application. So here you will have to enter information on your highest degree completed. So if you have achieved a doctoral degree, this will be the degree that you indicate here. Otherwise, your highest achieved degree and your employment history. Be very careful on the question about whether your current position is a permanent position. In case you tick yes, you will need to acknowledge that if selected as a EUTOPIA-SIF fellow, you will need to be in the position of signing a full-time 2 years contract as a EUTOPIA-SIF fellow, and not being at the same time in a permanent full-time position for another institution. Therefore, you shall be careful on this section of the personal information. The second part asks you for your main research outputs, at least 1 and up to 5. Do not include abstracts of your work, only the title and the coordinates of your publications, 1 publication, 1 output per box. And here you have to upload your personal CV, in this case, using the mandatory template. The mandatory template can be downloaded clicking here on the link. So every time a template is required, you can download it in the relevant form. And please remember that if you do not use the mandatory template, unfortunately, your application will be discarded. You will also have to upload a personal statement in a free form, no template, maximum 2 pages. After that, you have to fill in the section research proposal, composed of 4 main sections. At first, you have to fill in the information about your research proposal, the acronym, the title, and an abstract, 250 maximum words. You select the key research area, the discipline, and subdiscipline. Here it is mandatory to select a secondary discipline as well, because the EUTOPIA-SIF program highly promotes interdisciplinarity in research, so is keen on welcoming projects that cross disciplines in their application. Once filled in, you can proceed to the second part of the research proposal form, which is the choice of your hosting option. I remind you that you will have to choose at least 1 and up to 3 hosting options, that the institution choices must be different in all the 3 options, and that in each choice, host and co-host should be different institutions. Then you select the university for your host and your co-host, and you will have a drop-down menu for the research groups in the university that you selected as a host. You will also have to select a research group for which you are applying to them. And you have a text box to indicate the name of your prospective survivor in case you already know it. You have to tick in the box for the compliance to the Marie Curie mobility rule. And in case you wish to do so, you can also select a second and a third hosting choice with the same procedure and the same requirements. Next on is the update of your full research proposal, for which you have to use the mandatory template that can be downloaded on the application form. Once you have uploaded the research proposal, you can proceed on the last page, which is a request for suggestion on experts that can serve as external evaluators for your proposal during the international peer review. External evaluators means that those experts need not to be people with whom you have established any kind of cooperation. Otherwise, they will have a conflict of interest and they could not be external evaluators for your project. So this section is not mandatory, but you are welcome to suggest as experts to evaluate your research. You mark as complete and you pass on the following section, which is the upload of a PhD certificate or a proof of 4 years of equivalent research experience. So if you have already completed a doctoral degree, you have to upload your PhD certificate in English. If your certificate is not in English, you have to provide a translation. It is not necessary that it is an official translation. You can translate it yourself. But what is important is that if your certificate is not in English, you provide a translation in English. If you will complete your degree by April 15, 2022, so you do not have yet a PhD certificate, you can upload in the same document a copy of the diploma of your highest degree and a provisional certificate in a headed paper provided by your PhD supervisor or the academic institutions that will issue the certificate. In the other case, if you will not complete your doctoral degree by April 15, 2022, and you want to prove that you have 4 years of equivalent research experience, you are kindly requested to use the mandatory template declaring that you have the 4 years of equivalent experience. So you tick the box that applies to your situation, you upload the document, whether it is a PhD certificate, whether it is a provisional PhD certificate, or the declaration of 4 years of equivalent experience, and you mark the form as complete. In the following form, you have to upload the support letter with the research group. As we explained earlier, it is required that applicants, in order to be considered eligible, have at least one support group from one hosting choice. Please be careful, since for all the universities, there are different rules about the person that is entitled to sign the support letter. This information is here on the application form. You can also find it in the guide for applicants and on the website. So be careful on your letter. Here you can indicate how many letters you wish to upload, and accordingly, you will have 1, 2, or 3 upload boxes on the platform. So you upload your letter and you fill in the form with the contact information that signed your support letter and mark the form as complete. The following form is a request for the letters of recommendation. So the candidate has to request the letters before the application deadline. After that, the recommenders will have 10 days more after the application deadline in order to upload the reference letters. But if after those deadlines, the reference letters have not been uploaded, the application will be considered ineligible. So please be careful and follow up with the recommenders to whom you request the letter, since it is not up to the coordination to follow up on the request. We cannot, unfortunately, contact the recommenders, but it's up to you to make sure that your recommenders upload a reference letter for you. I will now show you how to request a recommendation. You click to request and you fill in with the contact information of your recommender. You send the request and you mark as complete. So having completed all the forms in the application form, the last page is a checklist so that you can verify and be sure that you filled in all the relevant forms and uploaded all information. So the diploma certificate or the template proving the 4 years of equivalent research experience, that you have selected at least one key research area, that you comply with the Marie Curie mobility rule, that you have uploaded the mandatory research proposal using the mandatory templates, that you have filled in the ethics declaration in the research proposal, that you have uploaded your curriculum using the mandatory templates, that you have uploaded at least one support letter from a research group, that you have requested 2 reference letters, you have uploaded your personal statement, and you have indicated at least one hosting option. Once you check all the boxes, you mark as complete, and your application is ready to be reviewed or submitted. If you wish to submit your application, you click on Submit. Then a message will ask you if you want to submit or review your application. And once you click on Submit, your application will be then submitted and registered by the application platform. Please acknowledge that you can still edit your application before the deadline, even if you're already submitted, simply by viewing the application, entering the form, and clicking on the 3 points here on the corner. You can edit again the task form and modify. Be careful each time that you modify a form to click again on Mark as Complete, because otherwise your edit will not be changed. And please note that the last version saved on the platform will be the one considered for the evaluation. Therefore, we recommend that in case you make any modifications after the submission of your application, you download your application at the last moment before submission. This is it for the application form. And we are now ready to open the Q&A session. If you could just give us 1 minute to read your questions and to organize to answer. Thank you for listening to our presentation. I hope that we answered already to some of your questions, and we are here to solve the doubts that you may still have.
So I will try to answer the first questions. So 2 questions about the advantages of submitting pre-application in October. Someone said that he knows already the host university and the research group has already given support to his project. So of course there is no need for him to apply to this optional pre-application stage. And this stage is more tailored for candidates who may not have enough ideas or on what research group may be suitable for them. So if you already know research group, you don't really need to use this pre-application step, of course. There is another question related to the new Utopia Alliance members. So congratulations, you are following the actuality on our website. Of course, we just have 3 new members joining the Alliance. But as far as EUTOPIA-SIF project is concerned, as I mentioned during my presentation, this is a co-fund project. So it's co-financed by the European Commission and the partners. So we are committed by a grant agreement with the Commission to co-finance your future fellowships, the fellowships. So in that case, as the new members just joined the Alliance in September, it will not be possible for this year at least to make them eligible to as host and even as co-host, because even if co-host is not a question of budget, usually it's a question of co-supervising, and all the EUTOPIA-SIF 6 universities are committed to really co-supervise the fellows. So for this year, it will not be possible for host and co-host, and we will see if it's possible for the other secondment, the external secondment for them. So this will be managed after the call deadline. There is another question regarding the should we know and confirm all our hosting option before, I guess, the deadline? Yes, your hosting choice must be given before the call deadline. You will always be able to change your co-hosting after, if you are selected. You will discuss that with your supervisor, and it will be more flexible on that point. But if you're not sure, or if you want to have two or three choices, please use the possibility to put 3 choices in your application. Rafaela, you have some question to answer?
Yes, there is a question on whether it is possible to upload a support letter from different research groups from one Utopia university. I am not sure whether I understand correctly this question. In case it is, if you can upload more than one support letter from different research groups, this is a yes. Just please note that the host university, in case you want to choose more than one hosting choices, has to be different. So you cannot put the same university in 3 different hosting options. This means that you can, of course, upload a letter from different research groups, but they will not be different research groups from the same university. Another question on whether the fellow will be asked to present the accomplishment to the end of the program. In some form, to some extent, yes. I mean, being a Utopia fellow, the EUTOPIA-SIF fellow also means to have some reporting duties. So at the beginning of the fellowship, the fellow will develop together with their supervisor a personal career development plan stating the objectives of their fellowship, the secondment, the goals that they want to undertake, and there will be presentations to be delivered, and there will be reporting to be done according to the goals of the fellowship. This is something that will also be considered during the evaluation of the project from external evaluators. So whether the research project that you have presented is feasible for the time frame that is granted for the fellowship. So be aware that this is also part of the evaluation. There is another question on if having my PhD in France, can I have a co-host lab in France? The answer is yes. The Marie Curie mobility rule only applies to the main host choice. This means that if you have resided for more than 12 months in the previous 3 years in a country and you want to undertake a secondment in that country, you can do it, but you cannot choose it as a main hosting option. Another question on eligible research groups. The answer is yes, but be careful for Vrije University Brussels, VUB. There are only 11 research groups that are eligible and that are listed. The list of research groups of universities can be found both on the program website and the application platform. So in the application platform, you have a drop-down menu to select the research groups. For some universities, since there are many research groups and mapping is, of course, complicated and conspicuous, you find the list of faculties. So the list is not as detailed as a list of research groups, but you can keep the principle that it is eligible if it belongs to that faculty or to that aggregation. Another candidate asks if it is possible to change the project after submitting the pre-application. In principle, candidates can submit only one application per call, so this will not be possible or recommended. There is an interesting question concerning the pre-application. So how far will it determine how the proposal is disseminated? This is an interesting question. Our answer will be that for the scope of the pre-application form, your application will only be shared with a research group that are relevant to that discipline. So if you believe that you can identify more disciplines related to your research project, our suggestion would be that you also contact research groups that you think are related to your proposal by yourself. This is strongly encouraged. Therefore, even if you fill in the pre-application form, this does not prevent you nor discourage you to contact research group by yourself in order to maximize your possibilities of finding a suitable hosting option.
So no, it will not be possible to build two proposals for the pre-application because you cannot, the pre-application is related to your application and it's forbidden to have two applications. It's not possible, I'm sorry.
But again, what you can do in order to maximize your possibility is to rely on the research group list that is on the EUTOPIA-SIF website so that you can contact the research group by yourself. Or you can also contact the local program managers of the EUTOPIA-SIF universities in order to be advised on the research environment of the university to which you are interested.
Okay, it seems we don't have any more questions. There will be another webinar, and after each webinar, we will update the frequently asked question on the website. And of course, as we answer as coordination team and also the local program manager answer questions, if there are very interesting questions, we will add them to the FAQ also. So please revert to this webpage for any other information.
And if you have any other specific questions for which you don't find the answer in the website or in the guide for applicants or in the FAQ, do not hesitate to write an email to EUTOPIA-SIF at cyu.fr or to contact the EUTOPIA-SIF local program managers if your question is related to one of the 6 partner universities.
Last question, because there's a person who is really expecting the answer. The co-home, can the co-home come from outside Europe? If you mean co-host or host, it's only Utopia University. So no, nothing out of Europe, as Utopia University is only in Europe. But you may, after, during your fellowship, have a secondment, the external secondment outside of Europe. But no home and no co-home outside of Europe, of course.
Other question, can I add as co-host the university where I am doing research activities now? It depends if it is one of the 6 Utopia universities. If it is one of the 6, yes, you can. If it is another university, you may involve that institution in your external secondment, but please bear in mind that host and co-host institutions can only be chosen among the 6 partner universities of the EUTOPIA-SIF program. And another question regarding mobility. Yes, I mean, the mobility rule applies, as always, needs to be taken into account. Therefore, if you finished your PhD in September 2019, you have to verify whether you have spent more than 12 months in France before applying to France.
But of course, if you finish your PhD in September 2019 and you were abroad until this time, you are eligible to come back to France from September. And the last question regarding any condition for the proposed research project, for example, the sampling site. I'm not sure to understand the question, but you are completely free, of course, to build your proposal, but you may keep in mind that it may be in the limit of a budget. So, of course, if you plan to sample something on the moon, for example, we cannot afford that. I'm sorry, but you have to discuss with the research group, of course, and this is the only limit we can expect. But after that, you're completely free. The translation in English, it's not an official translation, but you need to translate it if it's not in English. Yes, we need to be sure of what it's written on the diploma. And the research project will be launched at the beginning of the fellowship, so 1st September. You may be aware that you have to start on 1st September 2022, not after the 1st September. And if you are engaged in something else, in another job, you may quit the job in order to start the fellowship on 1st September 2022. So I guess we finish here. Thank you very much for yes, concerning the people who already have a PhD, but not have the diploma. Of course, it's possible, but you may always be able to ask your doctoral school for an official letter explaining when you have your defense and that you will have your diploma after, but you need to have this letter. Of course, it's always possible that you just defend your PhD, and we need that. It's always possible. Last year, it has been done for everyone, so you need to ask this letter at your doctoral school. And yes, the question of the benefit of pre-application that were answered. It's only to help you find a match in the research group. If you don't need that, there is no other benefit. And it's always an optional stage. So if you don't use it, there is no problem. Your application will be evaluated just like the others. Of course, there's no problem for that. So we will finish the webinar here, I guess, and perhaps I leave the floor to Rafaela for the last recommendation, and after we will leave you.
So I thank you all for attending this webinar. It is a pleasure for us to see your interest in our program and your appreciation for the opportunities that the EUTOPIA-SIF program and the Utopia Alliance can offer. Then our last recommendations would be, please be careful when filling in your application form. Please be careful to comply with all the requirements and fill in all the forms properly. And I strongly encourage you to contact research groups which you are interested in, both if you fill in the pre-application form or not. This is strongly encouraged because this would increase your chance of developing a good research project. And especially since you will need mandatory support letter from a research group, the only way to obtain it is to contact a research group. So I strongly encourage you to try to make contacts and to rely on the local program managers of EUTOPIA-SIF that are here to support you. And in case you have any other questions, do not hesitate to contact us via email. Thank you again, and I wish you a very nice afternoon and rest of the week. And good work on preparing your application.
Yes, and good luck. Bye.